The truth about the Bengals has been revealed. The first preseason game is now in the books and has given us a glimpse of this 2025 Bengals team. We're going to break down the highlights, the details of the game, and what we can expect for these Bengals going into the next preseason game. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. So happy to see all you Bengals fans. We have arrived. We are now in football season with preseason football in full swing. If you want to get in on the community, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 3,000 subscribers. We appreciate each one of you. We love hearing your comments, your feedback concerning these Cincinnati Bengals. So make sure you don't miss out by smashing that subscribe button. We are coming up on that 3,000. I think we can get there before week 1. So let's make it happen, Bengals fans. We just witnessed the first preseason game, though. That is the big storyline. We got to see the Bengals in action. What it did is it kind of confirmed a lot of things we already knew, and it kind of gave us a glimpse of some things that we want to keep an eye on, though. That was my takeaways just watching this game. It was so refreshing to be able to see Joe Burrow in preseason games. I don't want him out there all game, obviously, not risking injury. This is an exhibition game. It doesn't mean anything. But in terms of getting your reps, getting ready for the season, it does have a lot of meaning. And that's what's been showing for these Bengals. It's a storyline that's going to continue to go on, that the Bengals start slow, and it's due to partly not playing in preseason. At least that's what we're seeing, is that not getting those reps in preseason might be causing more of that effect than we originally thought. And we've talked about it. The Bengals have got to try something different. They've seen it time and again. They're coming out the gate slow, and last year really cost them making the playoffs. So it's refreshing to see they are taking that initiative of, we need to make a change. We have got to adjust. We've got to come out the gate fast and really hit it hard. And the best way to do that is get some reps in preseason. So that's exactly what happened. We saw Joe Burrow out there. We saw the first string team, and they looked like midseason form, honestly. I mean, they looked great. It was great to see Joe Burrow just slinging it. His very first pass was to T. Higgins. I think it was a catchable pass. He dropped it. Again, it's preseason. It's going to happen. You can't rag on T. Higgins too much on that. I thought it was interesting that Joe Burrow kind of, patted his chest a little bit. Like, that was my fault. I'm sorry. You got to love the guy. He's great. He's just a great leader. He's not going to be pointing the fingers at a guy unless really need to call out some kind of adjustment, something that a guy did. But he's going to be the first to take responsibility for passes, and that was evidenced by that. But Joe Burrow, he came out on that first drive, completed 6 of 7 passes for 71 yards, and threw a touchdown there to Tanner Hudson. Another player I thought that really shined was Tanner Hudson. He just looked great. I mean, I think he felt the pressure coming from having, you got Mike Gesicki as a starter, but signing Noah Fant, I think he's feeling the pressure. And he delivered. He definitely delivered when it came time to catch the ball. He essentially was not just catching it, but he, on that touchdown, was taking defenders with him. He was fighting for those extra yards. That's what I love to see from players. And Jamar Chase, well, he was Jamar Chase. He was one that just made defense look silly, honestly. And it remains to be seen with the Eagles, where they really playing it out. This is preseason, but still, it's Jamar Chase. He had a touchdown. That pass that was thrown where he just made a move and was gone. That's what you love to see. So that's kind of the positives looking at the preseason. That kind of reveals the truth of the Bengals are still going to be that tough offense. They're going to be dangerous when they are playing against other teams. They're going to be game planning to try and take away Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. They're going to be game planning, but they're going to be up for a big, big challenge in that way. Now, one thing to note about this game, though, it wasn't all good. That's for sure. You can talk about the offense, the first rep. That was great, and that gives us those glimpses of what we're going to be looking at. There were some losers in this one, though. If you want to talk about, it's just kind of a sad thing to look at. This is the first preseason, so let's not freak out. Again, this is early. but it does reveal the truth about something. And that is the hope is going to be on Al Golden that he can turn this defense around. Well, the defense was definitely the bad of this game. They looked very much like the 2024 defense. And a lot of that is this is a young team. So again, it's going to show the truth about this team. They need to get the reps in. They've been talking about in training camp how they've been really well. They've been showing those signs of improving when it comes down to just keeping things simple by tackling. That was a big issue last year. The tackling, they said, has improved. It kind of showed its ugly face, I have to say, when you're watching the preseason. Again, this is early. We're not freaking out about this. This is very first preseason. If anything, they were just getting their feet wet, trying to get adjusted. It was a good learning experience, I think. If you want to look at the silver lining, as bad as it looked for Al Golden and that defense, it's going to get them that real-time experience because, sure, you can rave about training camp. You can rave about practices, and this guy's doing that, and that's terrific. Absolutely. You want to see those guys excel, and hearing about that, that's wonderful. But you got to put it together when it comes to real-time games. And preseason, again, we can sit here and say, well, it doesn't count. It's still full go. Full go, you're in pads, full speed. You're not holding back in some practices that might not be pads, those types of things. So it's really where you got to go out there and produce. As evidenced by this, the truth is the Bengals are going to need to get as much of their reps as possible. That goes back to Shemar Stewart. Why? There was so much talk because if he was sitting out, he was missing out on those reps. He's a rookie. He's got all those tangibles to be a force, but it comes down to you've got to get the reps. So that's kind of the thing is, Zach Taylor, he had kind of a mixed bag in that preseason game, but that's what you're going to really see a lot of focus on is that defense. It's got to improve. There was a big 38-yard run by Will Shipley, the running back for the Eagles. Oh, that didn't look good. I mean, I could drive my car through that hole. There was just a big gaping hole he was able to rush through, and that just gave glimpses of the 2024 defense. That's what plagued this team. So Zach Taylor, I'm sure, sees that. He's going to have to address that with Al Golden. I mean, the pressure's going to be on Al Golden, for sure. But Zach Taylor is also going to have to oversee this. He's going to have to get his troops into gear. I'm sure he wasn't happy. You could see his offense just hitting, at least on the first string, doing well, but the defense, it's not good. DJ Ivey was out there. Just of note, so a few notes of he's got a lot of promise. He's going to be kind of that backup because another thing to consider, Cam Taylor-Britt was not out there. Dax Hill was not out there. They're going to be your starting cornerbacks. So DJ Ivey, there was a lot of pressure. What are you going to do to shine when it comes to possibly being that backup? They're going to need him. That goes without saying. But it looked like he was out of place. It seemed like he just wasn't in position. So the hope is, this is early. They can turn this thing around. But overall, that was just a little discouraging to see, I'll be honest. I was hoping they would come out the gate and maybe show a little bit of flashes. There was one player that was interesting, Joe Giles Harris. He did have a interception return for a touchdown. I'll be honest, I haven't heard much about him, so he was probably in the right place at the right time. But that was encouraging to see. Guys were kind of making plays here and there that maybe you haven't really heard much about. But at the end of the day, we just got to look forward. Despite the struggles that this first preseason game is, the truth is you got to get your reps. One positive also to note is it looked like Shemar Stewart, I think he wasn't jumping out like on the stat sheet, and I did not expect him to be that. But he made a good tackle for loss. So it looks like he's going to be that menace that they were talking about early on. Even in preseason, he's showing those signs. That's something that we should get encouraged about, is what is going to happen when Trey Hendrickson comes back and you have Shemar Stewart there on the opposite side, potentially. Joseph Osai and Miles Murphy, I didn't really see much from them. So it's going to come down to who's going to step up on that line. That's something else to keep up on when it comes to this defense because it starts up front. That's where the emphasis is going to be with this defensive line. Another thing is, to make a point, I made a note. BJ Hill was not out there too. So that's why we can't really freak out. Let's not freak out. This is the first preseason of the year. Let's see what they can do. And Zach Taylor even acknowledged going into the second game against the Commanders, that's really the one that he said you're going to see more of those starters. I think that goes along with the defense, not just the offense, but the defense is probably going to show up more in that second preseason game. So there it is, folks. That's the first preseason game in the books. Really interested to hear what you have to say. So be sure you leave a comment on what you thought of the preseason. I think it goes without saying the defense is going to have its work cut out for it. But what did you think? Was there any silver linings, encouraging things that you saw on defense? And what do you think of the offense? Didn't really touch much on that other than the first strings, but want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this team so far? Again, it's early, but what are you looking forward to in that next preseason game? We want to hear from you guys. And if you have not already, make sure you smash that subscribe so you'll be all up to date on all things Bengals Digest and the Cincinnati Bengals offseason going into this 2025 season. So that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Hoo day.